All right, guys, happy Monday. You're with me and the amazing Lissette Hurtado. Lissette, how you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you, Joe?
You are doing awesome. I'm doing awesome, too. I appreciate it. Today, we're going to talk to you guys about the big question that a lot of buyers are asking themselves right now. And really, you could even say sellers ask themselves this question. We're going to focus on the buy side this week, but this is something sellers think about, too. The market's hot. Prices are going up. Rates have been inching up, right? And the big question is, Joe, should I buy now or should I wait? Lissette, what do you tell those folks?
I think you really need to analyze where you are in your life. And if you're planning on buying within the next 12, 24 months, you shouldn't hesitate. It's still a good time to buy. We still have low interest rates. If you have the savings, the reserves, your credit's where it needs to be, you should be pulling the trigger because it might cost you more to wait. Now, if you need to get any of those things in line, then yeah, maybe you should wait and work on maybe getting a little bit more reserves, maybe hiring your credit score a little bit more. But even where prices are at now and interest rates still being so low, it's still such a great time for buyers to buy.
I agree with just maybe everything that you said. I think, people complain when rates go from 2.5 to 3.5. But in reality, when you look at historical rates, just 10 years ago, we're in the 6s, 7s, 8s. We're spoiled, right? We're spoiled. So rates are still phenomenally low. If you compare them to an auto loan, if you compare them to credit card debt, if you compare them to anything, it's pretty much the best leverage on money you can get. It's the cheapest way to get money, right? Is through mortgage. So for that reason, I think it's phenomenal. But you do have to be in a position where you're not maybe necessarily stretching yourself. If you've got poor credit, you don't have a lot of cash, you're going to be using, a lot of you guys want to use first-time homebuyer programs. They're not financially the best program out there. They're not. There are negatives to those programs, right? If your credit sucks, your rate might suck. So there are reasons to wait. Let's say you're moving to a brand new area. You don't know anything about that area and you're incredibly picky. I might rent for a year. But if you're in a position where you're like, man, I could afford either, which one's the smarter financial decision? Every day of the week, it's going to be smarter to buy than it is to rent, right? And you might be saying, yeah, but Joe, it's been going up for a decade. At some point, it's got to come down. It doesn't have to come down. It might plateau, and it might plateau for 3 years, and then it might keep going up. It might come down. It might continue to just go up, right? It could do a lot of different things. But I will say my wife and I bought in, I think it was June or July, and we had the discussion. Do we buy or do we just keep renting and hope the market goes down? What do we do? And I looked it up and I said, honey, over 70 years, the market only dropped 10% or more once, right? And that was 2008. The worst housing market we've ever seen. And even then, it came back just a few years later, right? So it really is something that we would be betting on a 1 out of 70 chance of winning on. I don't want to make that gamble. So for me, I think it absolutely makes sense to buy over rent. What do you think about that?
No, I couldn't agree more. I take a look back at some of the buyers I've had in the past couple of years, where they've been on the fence and they said, you know what, I'm just going to wait. And now I'm looking at prices and looking at what they've wanted to buy. I'm like, now it just went up even more in price. And unfortunately, now they've lost that opportunity again. And that affects the type of home that you could afford, the size of the home. I know for me, it was really important to have 4 bedrooms. The third bath was an extra, but I was able to buy that in my budget. With today's prices, I might not be able to afford that 4-bedroom, 3-bath home that I have now. So that's why it's really important. If you are in the position to buy, don't wait for that crash that may never come, because you may be setting yourself up in a worse situation in the coming years.
Here's the other thing. If you're conservative, right, you're like, I'm scared that prices will go down. I'm scared of this. I'm scared of that. A lot of the thought process is based on fear. I would say that you've got the ability to limit what your payment is every single month by buying, right? It's never going to go up. Your principal and interest will always stay the same. But your rent absolutely will go up. When your landlord hears about the prices that are coming out, the rent is going to go up. And you don't control it. You have to move, and you might have 30 to 60 days to make that decision. So for a slew of reasons, if you're conservative financially, I think the conservative move is absolutely to buy. Now, we're both realtors, so of course we're like, buy. And it's not just for sales. Like it's ingrained in our heads, right? If you sell Fords, you're going to not like Dodge and you're going to love Ford. And it's not because that's what you're around all day. You see the benefits. But I'm telling you, man, if you look at the numbers, and I'm a numbers guy, there are so few instances where it makes numeric sense to rent. Lissette, any golden nuggets for us to end it out?
I think in the past year, if we've seen rents go up so much, it's just been a drastic change in what the rental prices have been this time from last year. And unfortunately, so many tenants have been hit hard by that. So if you are anywhere near the point of pulling the trigger on a purchase, don't waste your money on renting. It's not an easy process, and neither is purchasing. But at the end of the day, when you purchase your property, you're going to have escrow in that home. That is an investment you are making compared to renting. You have nothing to show for. So if you're in the process and thinking of buying, it's always a good time.
I love that. And guys, listen, you've got Lissette, you've got me. We can hook you up with lenders. You can run the numbers yourself, right? So that you can see what does renting for a year look like versus what does buying for a year look like. And you can see average appreciation. We've seen crazy appreciation, but looking at average appreciation, looking at the average pay down on a loan, and you're going to see that it's a huge financial difference. It's pretty amazing, and it's what positions a lot of people to get those beginnings of wealth that the family ends up getting, So, all right, well, Lissette, I appreciate it, guys. If you've got any other questions or if you do want to run your numbers, reach out to either one of us. Have a great day.